A vow is a solemn promise to do a specified thing. Now in the seventh vow of success, we're going to talk about focus. I have scattered my efforts in so many directions. I have wasted so many seasons running from one rainbow to the next. I have spent countless years dropping empty buckets down empty wells. Success, happiness, and wealth. I continue to hope that they would someday be mine. I waited in vain. Without the miracle of these vows, I might have waited forever. And how sad is that? But all of this is behind me now. Now I understand why success has eluded me. For the person who is perpetually hesitating between which of two things he or she will do, will ultimately do neither. As we go back and forth between should I do this and I should do that, you waste a lot of time not doing anything. Now focus, and to focus at the task at hand is the key here. Because if I waver from plan to plan, from goal to goal, constantly turning in the wind to every point around like a compass, I will never accomplish anything great or useful. It is those who concentrate on but one thing at a time are who advance in this world. The great man or woman is the one who never steps outside of his or her specialty or foolishly dissipates his or her individuality. Now I know the great secret that was always before my eyes, yet I was too blind to see. For always will I throw my whole self into the task at hand and focus. The great difference between those who succeed and those who fail does not consist in the amount of work done by each, but in the amount of intelligent work. Many who fail do just enough to achieve grand success, but they labor haphazardly at whatever they are assigned, building up with one hand, yet tearing down with the other. They do not grasp circumstances and how to change them into opportunities. They have no faculty for turning honest defeats into telling victories. Never again will I only lay my hands on work when I should have committed my entire being. My eyes are open at last, and I will do whatever it is I am doing. Henceforth, I will do whatever it is I am doing as if there was nothing else in the world of importance. The creation of 1,000 forests starts in a single acorn. Concentration and perseverance built the pyramids, that and probably a few thousand slaves. But the master of a single trade can support an entire family of 7. However, the master of 7 trades cannot even support himself. The wind is never for the sailor who knows not what port he is bound. In other words, in what direction is he going? But now I know that where I want to go. Now I don't want to know. Sorry about that. Now I know where I want to go, and I know how to reach my destination because of goals and directions. Because again, always will I throw my whole self into the task at hand and focus. The demand of our world is that he who scatters his efforts cannot hope to succeed. Poor is the progress of he who divides his purpose. Success is always jealous of scattered energies. I am prepared for great changes in my life. The world will know I have changed course. What an immense power over life is the power of possessing direct aims. My voice, my dress, my look, my very motions and gestures will change, as I began to live my days with a purpose. How could I, like so many others, have remained blind to this great truth? The person who knows one thing and does it better than anyone else receives the crown that he merits. If he or she is the best by having concentrated all of his or her energy to that end, they are a benefactor of mankind and is rewarded as such. So remember, say it with me, always will I throw my whole self into the task at hand and focus. I will decide on my goals and keep them forever in my thoughts. We can find only what we see in our hearts. If I look for nothing in particular from life, I will find just that, nothing. But if we go out into life with no well-defined idea of our future work, we can be certain that there will be no happy and accidental circumstance that will arrange what we do into an imposing structure with the magnificent proportions. In other words, no big stuff is happening. Now, I like to say that God is playing chess when we are all playing checkers. And so he's moving things around to put people in and out of our lives when necessary based on what we are looking for, what we're asking for, and not only that, what we are prepared for. And we prepare ourselves through our personal experiences and our learning and all of the other life experiences that we gather through time. Now, we are often told to aim high in life, but we must aim at what we would hit instead. Or more so what we would want to hit. So yeah, we say aim high, but aim high where? Not just a high target. So it's important not just to aim high in direction, but high to a high target. A general purpose is not enough. For that arrow shot from the bow does not wander around through the air to seek whatever it can hit on the way up, but it flies straight to in the direction to the target that we sighted. Now, think about this. We know thunder comes from a lightning strike, right? Now, the sound of thunder produces but little or no results other than the sound itself. Now, of course, scientifically, we know there's waves of sound and so on and so forth, but it's dispersed through the air. It's just noise. It doesn't affect anything, or at least not at a distance. As compared to a lightning bolt, which is a single concentration of energy into a direct small area, which can create impact, it can create explosion, it can create energy transfer and all of those things. So noise versus the source of energy. So this is sound waves, but this is more powerful energy. Now, I know that I cannot pursue a worthy goal steadily, persistently, and with all the powers of my mind and still fail. But if I focus the rays of sun with a magnifying glass, we know that even on a winter cold day, even if it was below zero, we can still start a fire if we concentrated that sun ray and that sunlight energy onto some sticks or some wood or any other combustible material and start a fire. No matter how cold the temperature is, we can still do that with the sun's energy and that magnifying glass. So again, the mantra says, always will I throw my whole self into the task at hand and focus. Just like focusing that sunlight to start a fire. Just like focusing that electrical energy in a lightning bolt, and boom, you strike a target and burn it. Now, even the weakest creature, by concentrating its powers on a single object, can accomplish good results. Even a tiny little slug can make its way across a distance even though it moves slow. Even a tiny earthworm can make its way through the earth because it's focused on one thing, tunneling through the earth looking for nutrients to survive. And so conversely, even the strongest creatures like an elephant, if an elephant doesn't concentrate all his strength and effort into one thing, he might find himself just working his way through the jungle and not accomplishing anything, not really causing anything to happen. All right? And so the strongest animal, by dispersing his efforts over many chores, can fail to accomplish anything. That's essentially what they're saying. Think about this. Even small drops of water, by continually falling in a single spot, can wear a hole, and even a whole entire passage through the hardest of rock. That's where we get caves from. Caves often come from water wearing a hole through the side of a large piece of rock, or a large section of rock, a cliff face even, something like that. That's usually done with water wearing through. But if you took a hasty or a sudden rush of water from, say, like a heavy downpour of rain and a sudden rush of water down a mountainside, it'll do some damage. It'll wash over the rock, but it won't wear into the rock. It'll wash everything off the surface, or a lot of what's on the surface. But because it's distributing its force over a wide area instead of those drops that dribble, which concentrating all this force in one area. We know so much about that. We even have technology now for that. We have cutters that, instead of cutting with a laser, is using a high pressure stream of water to cut through materials, even steel and other things. So we know that what pressure can do in a single spot. We have that technology now. Now, that water rushing down the mountainside will leave very little trace, maybe some mud, whatever. Now we, in our efforts, in our focus, we want to be like that laser cutter. We want to be like those drops of water that wear a hole and leave a trace. We want to leave our trace, our mark on the world. We want to do things to even go so far as grandiose and say legacy, but may not even be that big and grandiose. But ultimately, we want to leave our mark on the world. And a big way to accomplish a lot of big things is by focusing on those things that we are best at, that we are good at, and that we are effective at, and that we can basically make a difference. So, say it with me. Always will I throw my whole self into the task at hand and focus. Well, I hope you guys can appreciate the importance of focus here and start to really think about what's most important to you and focus on that, and you'll achieve some high results. Until the next video, thank you for your attention. I appreciate you listening to this. And next, we'll talk about opportunity. Take care and God bless.